So it is 3 o'clock in the afternoon here in Sweden, and today's webinar has the title Working with the MALÅ Easy Locator Core. I say welcome to all of you that has logged on, and we are 2 who will be presenting today. It's me and Andreas. We have an agenda for today. We will concentrate around the MALÅ Easy Locator Core and new things, how the software works, how the equipment is built. We will also talk about Guideline Geo as a company, and we will end the session with a question and answer session. So if you have questions, please enter them in the chat window as we go along, and we will try to cover them at the end. Me, I am Jesper Emilsson. I am the product manager of MALÅ GPR. My background is in geophysics. I have worked with GPR since 1995. And I've worked both on the product and development side and also on the business side for many years.
And my name is Andreas Viberg. I work with Jesper as the product manager of MALÅ GPR systems for Guideline Geo. I have a background as an archaeological geophysicist and have been working with ground penetrating radar since 2006. So we would like to take you along for around 45 minutes talking about primarily the Easy Locator Core, but starting off with a short introduction to Guideline Geo. Guideline Geo is the world leader in geophysical solutions. We offer instrument software, services, and support necessary to investigate the subsurface. And as you can see from this slide, we've been around for a while. Not me personally, but the company has been around for almost 100 years. We are celebrating that next year in 2023. The Guideline Geo consists of 2 brands, ABEM and MALÅ, world leading in their own segments. It's production and products made in Sweden. We are developing them here in Sweden, and we manufacture them here in Sweden, and we have a global reach through our local offices around the world, as well as through our talented distributors around the world. And we'll get back to that in a while. We also have a close collaboration with customers and universities and other partners around the world. Here's a map showing where we are currently working from. The headquarters of Guideline Geo is in Stockholm, Sweden. Me and Jesper, we are working from Umeå, which is further north in Sweden. Here we do all the research and development for Guideline Geo, and the products themselves are being manufactured in MALÅ, which is again further north in Sweden. But we also have local offices from Kuala Lumpur in the east over to Salt Lake City in the west. As I mentioned, Guideline Geo consists of 2 different brands, ABEM and MALÅ. ABEM focuses on resistivity, seismic, and TEM equipment, and MALÅ focuses on ground penetrating radar equipment. And as I mentioned, we are collaborating with different kinds of partners and companies around the world. Here's just a short list of some of them, some of the partners and customers. We are also working in collaboration with academia. Again, just a few examples of academic institutions that we have worked with in the past. So after this short introduction to the company, I would like to hand over to Jesper, who will talk initially about utility locating and then focus a bit more on today's topic, the MALÅ Easy Locator Core.
Yes, the MALÅ Easy Locator Core is all about locating utilities, of course, and we could ask ourselves, why is this important? Well, I think it's evident for everyone in this webinar who is listening, at least to us, that it's very important. Infrastructure is a key asset for all of our societies, all our modern societies, and it's increasingly important. And the buried infrastructure is increasing also with the cities growing. Water, sewage, power, electricity, gas, communication, etc. is very important infrastructure to maintain and to install. And our streets and our cities are getting very congested. And we have maps are unreliable. They are often incorrect or incomplete. They are getting better, but they are pretty much always, at least to a certain point, wrong. And if you're installing, you don't want to harm either yourself or the already installed infrastructure when you are installing new. So this is a rapidly growing problem, and that is also why we build this type of equipment, to try to help find buried utilities. There are a few main reasons why we do this. We have chosen to divide it into certain different types of reasons: avoidance, markout, mapping, and then also verification and quality control. The avoidance is fairly simple, and that is where most of the work has been, at least historically, where basically you use the equipment in exactly at the time for excavation, and you make the interpretation on raw data and on the fly, and you say, don't dig here because there is something here. And then we have markout, which is the next step up, where you basically go out just before the excavation and try to mark out whatever you can find, so they know roughly what the subsurface looks like. The fastest growing field is the mapping field, where the purpose with collecting data is to create a map of all the utilities in the subsurface, both local and large scale. And then, of course, there is the verification, where a customer who wants the infrastructure to be in place, they want to know if it's in the right place and at the right depth. So that's the fourth type of investigation. And how? I would think that this is a summary, but basically if you take on a job where you want to find the buried infrastructure, you gather as much information about the site as possible. You try to collect maps. You call people who might be a network, those who own the infrastructure, the buried infrastructure. You try to find as much information as possible. Talk to people. As you come to the site, you look for visible evidence for buried utilities. It could be on-surface installations, signs of excavations, and old work. Then when you have all that information, background information, you use technologies like electromagnetic locating and ground penetrating radar, which is what we develop and produce. In order to create reliable maps, this type of equipment is then connected to high precision positioning devices. It could be RTK, GPS, or total stations, or others. And then you record and verify your results as good as possible. As I said, the ground penetrating radar is the field that we are in, and there are a lot of advantages with ground penetrating radar. It can detect buried utilities of any material. It doesn't matter if it's plastic, PVC, ceramics. It can detect different types of material. It doesn't need to be metal. It gives an accurate depth information, give or take, but it gives a depth information that is also important for these type of investigations. It can also detect other things that is of interest, like layering, cavities. It's a growing interest for mapping larger areas. With GPR, you can also use array technologies, so you can map off several hectares a day. And there are some limitations with any geophysical methods. There are limitations, and that is, of course, where you have a conductive topsoil or a conductive soil in general that will attenuate the signal, or it will prevent the signal to penetrate into the subsurface. So when we are developing tools, we talk a lot, as Andreas already mentioned, to our customers and to research organizations, etc. We talk a lot to customers about what kind of tool, what would people like to see change? How can we do this better? And ease of use is one of the first things that comes to us, and we have been focused on that since we introduced the first Easy Locator a long time ago now, 2003. And another thing is that they would rather see the equipment to be lighter and easier to deploy, easier to the logistics, making it easier to go in between sites. Then it's, of course, the data itself. How can we make it easier to interpret the data? And once we have the interpretations, people want to move them to other software platforms, into different databases, etc., and to share these results. So, and reporting has always been a focus where once we have the data, how do I report on it? How can I get paid for the work I've just done? And then also, of course, support and service of the equipment should be close by and readily available. So when we started off with the MALÅ Easy Locator product family in 2003, we focused to try to make an industry standard for utility locating. This is the last member of this family, and this is a bit of a revolution, even though the background and the concept, the idea behind it is the same. We want to build the state-of-the-art intelligent ground penetrating radar solution for utility locating professionals, and it's optimized for locating utilities. We have always had good data quality, and this is not an exception. It has exceptionally good data quality. And we introduced with the Easy Locator Core real-time interpretation support with MALÅ AI. The EL Core is also, the Easy Locator Core is also collects data wirelessly. We are using cloud storage for backup and for post-processing. And then it's directly, when you upload it to the cloud, you can access the data using MALÅ Vision. We have focused a lot on the workflow to try to minimize the time it takes from deployment of the equipment, set it up, collect the data, and to get that report out as quickly as possible, because that is what our customers get paid for. Here's a bit of a timeline with the first MALÅ Easy Locator in 2003. As I said, it was specifically designed for utility market back then with the technology we had then. It was a lot heavier, and it was slower, and it didn't produce as nice data, and the software support wasn't as great as it is with the latest edition, which is the MALÅ Easy Locator Core. It sets a complete new industry standard for utility locating. We are so convinced that this is about this product that we really encourage people to go to and compare it head to head to the competitors out in the marketplace. We are very proud of the data quality and how well it works. The overall experience is probably, if you've used GPR since before and you haven't tried the EL Core, what you will see is that the total experience of using it is different, and it's much smoother, easier. Another thing that you will notice very quickly is that we have spent a great deal of time to improve the mechanical design. We have spent a lot of time trying to look at details and really to make this product perfect as we can make it. And the feedback we have had so far from early adopters and from experienced users is phenomenal when it comes to, they appreciate this, the attention to detail we've had, and the overall experience. If we are looking at the different types of reasons why we are doing utility locating, we divided into 4 different categories: avoidance, markout, local mapping, and large-scale mapping. Actually, we called it avoidance, markout, mapping, and verification, I think, but in this it's a little bit different. Local mapping, large-scale mapping, because we see a market trend going towards more advanced service and larger mapping projects. The Easy Locator Core fits with the first 3, which is avoidance, markout, local mapping. That is where the main activity still is, even though the trend is going towards larger scale. You can do local mapping with the EL Core. The software is smart. You can get a lot of support when working with it. Andreas will come back to this later. I think it can also cover the need for avoidance and markout. So, as a little bit of a repetition, the data quality unsurpassed. We have very good data clarity. We have good data quality straight through. And I would think that customers to us would be surprised if we didn't. But it's important to have that data quality. And also, this is probably the biggest, this is a big thing, and it became a lot bigger than I thought personally. I was a little bit skeptical initially when we started this development project, thinking that what will it lead to? Today I am really I'm really amazed by how useful it is. And if you haven't tried this, you need to do so, because it's a very easy to use tool, and it's important to remember that it's an interpretation support. It's not going to do the work. It will do part of the work for you, but it will not do all of it. We have a little video to show you from a quick data gathering here in Umeå. We can see that the operator is starting a measurement. He just checks the settings, and then we start a 2D project. You get in, this is the MALÅ controller app, and he turns on the real-time AI and starts the measurements. And as he's moving along, the software will recognize a few hyperbolas, because it's basically a hyperbola indicator, and you can set the sensitivity level in the software. It's important you get that right, otherwise you will have a lot of markers or no markers. So you need to do a test run. And this is I think this is a driveway to a house, and this is some drainage pipe that Anders is covering several times. He's walking across it like serpentine wise. And here is the drainage pipe underneath the driveway, and so just showing that it's actually something there. And if you have set the sensitivity right, it's extremely good tool to pinpoint the interesting features. Some people say, well, those are easy to see, those hyperbolas. Sure, they are, but you need to, normally you would have to go through the data set, and you would actually need to place a marker there. The AI can help you do that very quickly. Thus, you will produce your final report and interpretation much faster. So that's part of the efficiency in the workflow. And as soon as you have collected your data, you can upload this to the cloud, and it's as backup, and to continue to work inside MALÅ Vision to produce your report. You can do that directly in the field, or it could be somebody at the office who has access to the MALÅ Vision license, and who can just produce the report for you. Data is a secure cloud storage guaranteed by Microsoft, and then as soon as you have uploaded it from the field, you can start to do, you can share, you can process, interpret, and report. Again, minimizing the time it takes to produce the end results, very important. We have made a completely new rough terrain cart. For those of you who have seen the old one, knows that it's been a very appreciated cart for traverse a little bit rougher terrains. This is a smaller version of the same sort of fundamental idea. It looks similar, but there are lots of changes in this with the RTC Mini. And I thought the old one was ugly, but this new one is beautiful. So you will have to have a look at it. I think we have another slide with some details of what has been improved. Yes, and there are several things. For instance, the handlebar, the way you attach it to the cart part, and is much improved and much more secure than before. It's of course lighter in weight, and it's a smaller sized RTC. Therefore, the mini part of the name, and it has a perfect fit with the new Easy Locator Core. You just remove the wheels and place it inside the RTC Mini. And it also fits perfectly with the GX450. So you can use it with the GX450, and you can use it with higher frequencies of the GX family as well. It has a much better solution for holding a prism or a RTK GPS or a GPS system. GNSS system, I should say. It has the skid plate is form fitted to the GX450 and the EL Core, and it's much easier now to adjust the ground clearance. You can do it much easier than before. We had also remarks on that the wheel connection wasn't optimal, so we have completely reworked that and changed it into something that is more secure and looks better. The whole thing is beautiful. When you see it live, you will see the difference to the old one. So again, we have focused a lot to try to minimize the workflow and to make it more efficient. And we are proud to say that we have the fastest workflow on the market. And we try to look at the whole part from actually going out in the field all the way to reporting back in the office or in the field. It's much lighter than anything. It's very easy. It's easily transported. You can set it up very quickly in seconds. And it's the controller app. It's a complete new interface compared to the old Easy Locator interface where we used the field computers. This is a app, and we've spent a lot of time to try to make it as simple to use as possible, just like the old one. We have the real-time interpretation support through MALÅ AI. We do backup, and we can secure our data using cloud services. The visualization and sharing is mainly done, and reporting is done in MALÅ Vision, which also is focused on simplicity to make handling the data and processing and viewing the data as easy as possible. And when since we have this seamless and very efficient workflow that delivers quality results, it saves time. And it saves time to our customers that then can make more projects or more money if they want. This is just a few few pictures of the size. This is the back of a car, Volvo, I believe. And it has been one of the most frequently asked things that our customer wants smaller and more lightweight equipment. And this is the answer to it. It's a true wireless solution. As I said, there are no cables between the tablet and the antenna. We connect through Wi-Fi. And we are also communicating to the cloud through Wi-Fi or wireless. The connection to positioning devices such as RTK, GNSS, or RTS, then we are using Bluetooth. So your equipment, if you already have one, needs to have a Bluetooth connection possible. We have also rebuilt the wheel encoder. It's now built into the antenna box itself, completely protected and more secure than before. If you want to create maps, precise positioning is important. So we have looked at this and how to make this better too. We have tried a lot of different GNSS solutions out there. We have used Amulet for a long time, but you could use any of the top manufacturers of GNSS solutions. And if you have a different one, please let us know and we will look. It has been impossible for us to test all the different types of positioning solutions out there. So if you have a certain brand or a certain type, please let us know and we will try to look at it to see how we can accommodate your needs. We have looked at, I've always been bothered about having to screw this extension pole onto everything when I want to get good positions. So we have developed a quick release for the present pole, which works really nicely. And then as soon as you have uploaded your data to MALÅ Vision, you can also easily edit the positions you collected. This is the last part of this part of the presentation, at least, is showing a few detailed screens. I really think I like this because I think there are so many details in this on this equipment that is really beautiful. We just try to make functionality and form be important for us. This is the connector to the handle when you're folding it. This is actually the quick release to the GNSS or the pole for the prism or the GNSS receiver. This is the various small things that what do you call them, connectors for the handles, and how you're working with them. That's actually a function of it. You need to look at this equipment in detail because there are so many beautiful parts of it. And now we're going over towards looking at the software, and I believe that Andreas has a few news to tell also about the software. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. It's not only hardware, obviously. We've been talking about the software side of it. We have mentioned that before, the importance of the workflow. So we are now going to have a quick look at the workflow and a quick look at the different parts of the software. If you would like to have a more in-depth walkthrough of the MALÅ Controller app and MALÅ Vision, I would recommend returning again in a few weeks' time when me and Jesper will be hosting a webinar going more in depth specifically on functionality in the MALÅ Controller app and MALÅ Vision and looking at the specific workflow of a survey. But just as a quick introduction, we are featuring dynamic menus. So basically choose what you need for your particular survey. It could be things like marker color size, the MALÅ AI settings, some filtering and some velocity adaptions. You can have all of these open at the same time if you like and move them around on the screen. They can also be closed so you can free up space to look at the data in more in-depth. The MALÅ Controller app will remember those general settings between your different projects. So when you end for the day and shut everything down, when you come back in the morning again, it will remember your previous settings and get you started as soon as possible. If you're working, let's say, for example, indoors, or if you have a need to carry out a 3D grid, then the dynamic grid functionality will help you along the way. It will aid you to collect the data in a good way, and of course this is possible to import directly into MALÅ Vision and to be processed fairly quickly. You might be thinking about the speed of the upgrades and the releases of new versions of the MALÅ Controller app, and that is something that we are prioritizing. We are constantly working hard to add new important features to the app, and we would highly recommend that whenever you see that there is a new release available, then please update the software in your tablet. We are also continuously releasing software for the antenna firmware, so that can easily also be upgraded through the MALÅ controller app. As I mentioned, we will have a more in-depth look into the MALÅ controller app and its functionality and MALÅ Vision in the coming webinar. But I just wanted to highlight what has become available with the latest release, which is the 10.205.12. And that is a very handy feature called annotations. Previously, and I think everyone working with ground penetrating radar in the field have been used to using field notebooks. You've been writing a lot, taking notes, drawings to remember what you have done and to aid you when it comes to the actual interpretation and post-survey processing. And the annotations features that we've just released will remove part of that need. You will be able to take screenshots. You will be able to use the tablet camera to collect photos. It could be overview photos of the site. It can also be photos of the antenna while keeping the tablet in the same place during the survey when you're passing over important features. You can also add audio markers, where you will be able to talk to the MALÅ controller app, and it will add a specific marker remembering what you have said. You can also add texts, of course, and as you can see in the image to the right, they will appear as markers in your data in the specific point where you are actually adding them. So that could either be during a profile, during a measurement, it could be between profiles. And you can also tie them to object markers. All of these are tied to surface markers, as you can see. But if you have an object marker, if you have used MALÅ AI, for example, to mark out an important hyperbola, you can click that marker and you can select some kind of annotation, and it will be storing that together with the marker. And that will, of course, follow through to MALÅ Vision. The next step of the workflow, obviously, is MALÅ Vision. We have different subscription options available for MALÅ Vision. There is a free one, obviously, where you can try it out. As a new user of MALÅ Vision, if you register, you will get 50 megabytes of storage. There is a demo project in there, so you can get accustomed to the software and how it works. If you want additional storage, there are a subscription option called MALÅ Vision Premium available, which will give you 100 gigabytes of data for your specific account. And with the sale of the Easy Locator course, there will be a MALÅ Vision Premium license included. But if you haven't tried it yet, please log on to the web cloud software and try it out. That will give you access to some unique features. I will not dwell too long on these right now. We will get back to those for the other webinar, but it contains things that Jesper have mentioned before, like automatic polylines. We've talked extensively about MALÅ AI, as well as an easy reporting tool where you can add snapshots from the software. You can quickly add text, and then you can export that to either a Word or PDF format. And obviously, if you need to use a third-party software, you can export your data from MALÅ Vision to generic formats like DXF, for example, for integrations to AutoCAD and ArcGIS. As with the MALÅ controller app, we are constantly adding new features and updating the software. So please tune in for the next webinar to look at the latest releases. But as we've talked about, we're constantly working towards adding new features. So it's a lot of fun to have interactions with customers and users, and looking into new exciting functionality. As I mentioned, if you haven't tested this already, please log on to malovision.guidelinegeo.com and create your account. It's instantly created, so you can get up and running very fast. And that will provide you with the sort of 50 megabytes of storage space and the demo project. If you are working at an academic institution, such as a university, we also have special academic licenses. There is a MALÅ University free license, which will give you 100 megabytes for free. And there is also a paid option where you would pay a yearly subscription to get everyone at the university up and running with MALÅ. That's called MALÅ University Premium. So if you're interested in either of these academic options, please send us an email and we'll help you along the way. But more on MALÅ and more on the MALÅ Controller app when we meet again, hopefully during the next webinar. So why would you choose Guideline Geo, and why specifically choose the Easy Locator Core? Well, several reasons, of course. First of all, it's a Swedish quality product. It's a complete solution for utility locating. And as we've already discussed, very intuitive, but still very comprehensive in terms of technology and capabilities. You're also getting a worldwide coverage from our support network, our distributors, and speaking for everyone working with support. We are dedicated to help you wherever you are, and we're developing our software so it will be easy for you to contact us and provide us with feedback or ask for help should you need it. So we aim to guide our users all around the world to map the subsurface with our unique combination of solutions, know-how, and workflows. And all of these benefits combined with new intelligent innovations across the product range provides unsurpassed customer value. So we would like to say that we offer the best investment value of any supplier of utility location solutions. Moving back to the service and support, it's something that we're really passionate about. We have, as we have mentioned before, a global reach. We cover around 80 countries worldwide, and we handle thousands of customer interactions every year. And currently we have a 96.3% customer satisfaction rate, which is really fantastic. And we will always do our best to try to help you out wherever you are. And not only for the specific Guideline Geo offices, obviously we have around 90 employees in 6 offices on 5 continents, but we also have more than 60 dedicated resellers and distributors throughout the world in different places, and they can be on site to help you. We can, if we are in the vicinity, or we can travel to you to help you out, or we can make sure that you can complete your survey. We produce everything here in Sweden, so it's a local production in-house in the north of Sweden. We have local production, we have service and support, which ensures quality and timely deliveries, so that you don't have to wait for your products or for help. And we're not satisfied where we are. We strive to constantly do better, to improve, to develop, and to make new exciting innovations that you can use. And we have delivered more world firsts in near surface geophysics than any other company. So we take a huge pride in being the innovation leaders of geophysics. And we work closely with customers and partners to maintain that, to be able to stay ahead and to aim to develop the right things. And our promise to you is that if you invest in our solutions, your investment will grow exponentially over time. The feedback has been fantastic. I think Jesper has already dwelled on this earlier in the presentation, but it's been a fantastic response from customers and users of the MALÅ Easy Locator Core over the world. And I just wanted to show you a few of them. But obviously the best way to get a feeling for the MALÅ Easy Locator Core is, of course, to test it. So if you haven't already, please contact us or your local distributor or sales representative, and we will help to make that a reality. Okay, I think time is up for the webinar. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. The next webinar in line from Guideline Geo is from our senior application engineer, Mike Langton, who will be talking about GPR on water, and that will be, I think, in a week's time. So please register for that as well. And then me and Jesper will be back in the end of June with a more in-depth look at the MALÅ controller app, MALÅ Vision, and the MALÅ workflow. So thanks a lot for connecting and have a fantastic day.